Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osi Edem yopo.
Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to also offer my debate on the media budget. Mr. Speaker, for anybody to make sense in terms of debate on the media budget, it has to be done in the expected context that would define the review in 3 different segments. Mr. Speaker, it is very clear that whatever review we are doing, whatever budget we are presenting, wherever we are going, Ghanaians can never ever forget about the fact that the previous government, as a result of prudent management of the economy of Ghana, actually handed over the economy of this country that was presented emphatically by the present finance minister, Dr. Forson, in this house. Mr. Speaker, he came to this house when he was presenting 2025 budget. He stated in the budget that in terms of GDP growth, as of that time, Ghana was growing 5.6%. Even higher than 2016. Mr. Speaker, the long-term goal of every country in the world basically is twofold: economic growth and stability. And when you talk about stability, you deal with resilience. Mr. Speaker, it was true that Ghanaians went through crisis. And the finance minister, point 10 of what he presented a couple of days ago, the last point, he stated that the confidence is mostly grounded in how Ghanaians felt. And it's true, the crisis they went through. Any honest person will talk about the fact that it was global, to the extent that at a point the world was growing negative 3.3, Ghana grew 0.5. Inflation rate went to 54.1. But before we gave out power to them, handed over, inflation was 22.9. No, 22.9. It's your own statement. You've forgotten. You stated it, so you lied. You can't say that. Mr. Speaker, the point that we are making is that it is a fact that the restoration had been done, unless you want to display ego trips or unconscious incompetence, or you want to be dishonest with Ghanaians, because they stated those figures. So NPP government restored the economy and they took over. But then they also ensured stabilization of the restoration. And that is why we are now having good primary macro indicators. I will not lie about it. But Mr. Speaker, the question now is, where is the expected impact? That's where everybody is talking about. When you have restoration, when you have stabilization, the next thing is how Ghanaians will feel the impact of what you are talking about. Mr. Speaker, I used to buy KOKO porridge from a vendor around Cantonment. Mr. Speaker, I used to buy 5 cedis everything. Yesterday, I had to spend 25 cedis. KOKO. Mr. Speaker, now nurses. Mr. Speaker, you cannot talk about the economy without talking about putting money in the pocket. Mr. Speaker, look at my pocket. See my pocket. Mr. Speaker, my pockets are empty. See, my pockets are empty. Empty pocket, Mr. Speaker. See, my pockets are empty. There's no money in my pocket. The essence of transiting from economic figures is about its practical impact on Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, the market women are crying. KOKO sellers are crying. Nurses who were teasing us are not crying. They didn't be doing it. So what we are telling our brothers is that in terms of private member indicators, they have done well.
Honorable Sivinamo, your time is up. If you can drink cocoa, Honorable Sivinamo, if you can drink cocoa for 25 cedis, why won't your pocket be empty?
Mr. Speaker, permit me to begin by laying to rest the tired propaganda by our colleagues on the other side that the government is not spending. But even before that, Mr. Speaker, following all the debates from yesterday, it is clear that there is a general consensus. There is an agreement on both sides that the economy today is in a better shape than President Mahama inherited it in January. If there is any bone of contention, it is what factors have contributed to the stability that we are enjoying. And Mr. Speaker, it is very striking that even among them, there is so much contradiction because some of them attribute the stability to the operations of gold board and prices of gold on the global market. Some claim it is because of the strong fundamentals that they left behind for President Mahama to inherit. Mr. Speaker, each and every one of them is struggling to find a reason. Even yesterday, somebody tried to credit the Honorable Osafo who was finance minister many decades ago. It tells you that, yes, they agree that the economy is better, but they are struggling to give the credit to who deserves it, which is President Mahama. Mr. Speaker, let me say that it is not true that we are not spending. The only difference is that this government is spending responsibly, this government is spending prudently, and this government is investing in the right places. Yes, they are so used and they are normalized to the culture of reckless expenditure to the extent that fiscal discipline appears to them as not spending. Mr. Speaker, they are so used to spending money on unproductive things like the National Cathedral that today, even when government is putting money in the productive sectors, it appears like no expenditure to them. Mr. Speaker, the government is spending, but we are spending at the right places. Mr. Speaker, those who institutionalize profligacy as the culture of public finance see the kind of fiscal discipline today as a Kwekwananse story. We are telling them that indeed we are spending, but we are spending at the right place. Mr. Speaker, the question now is, where are we spending? All the sectors that government must make investment, I am happy to say that the right investments are being made. But Mr. Speaker, let me focus on two sectors. The first one is education. Mr. Speaker, as we speak today, over 165,000 Ghanaian students in public universities have benefited from the no-fee stress policy of this government. We are spending, and we are spending well on the future of these children. Mr. Speaker, as we speak today, close to 2,000 students in tertiary institutions with disabilities are benefiting from free public tertiary education for persons living with disability. Mr. Speaker, we are spending, and we are spending rightly. Mr. Speaker, as we speak today, government has cleared all the arrears in capitation grant from the NPP time. As we speak, government does not owe capitation grant. Mr. Speaker, we are spending, and we are spending rightly. Mr. Speaker, across every region, massive infrastructure injection in our various schools, in our various districts. Mr. Speaker, we are spending, and we are spending right. The other sector that, Mr. Speaker, I would want to focus on is youth empowerment. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, we have invested in a Jumara program, we have invested in a national apprenticeship program, and we are investing, Mr. Speaker, on programs that will support young people to make decent living. Mr. Speaker, to the NPP, I challenge them that indeed President Mahama and Dr. Forson have done well, and we have done far better. And because of our performance, we are confident that the people of Ghana will continue supporting this government to continue delivering. Mr. Speaker, I throw a challenge to them. If you want us to debate the economy, bring your former finance.
Mr. Speaker, the youth, particularly those in the Commander enclave, are so much disappointed. Mr. Speaker, they want to know the status of the Commander Sugar Factory. Mr. Speaker, the Commander Sugar Factory was commissioned in May 2016. And Mr. Speaker, 10 years on, the factory is still lying idle and it has not been operationalized. Mr. Speaker, in the 2026 budget, the minister indicated, and I quote, Mr. Speaker, as part of the Rapid Industrialization for Job initiative, work is ongoing to assess the Commander Sugar Factory and identify viable operational models. Mr. Speaker, where are the models? Where are the models? The youth of Commander, they want to work 24 hours. They want to work 3 shifts. They want to work. So operationalize the Commander Sugar Factory and let them work 3 shifts. Mr. Speaker, the farmers in this country are equally disappointed. Mr. Speaker, they want to know where the farmers' service centers are located. Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Agriculture, he promised this country that 270 farmers' service centers were going to be established. Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I refer you to their own farmers' service centers implementation guide, page 9. Mr. Speaker, they indicated that year 1, they will establish 50 farmers' service centers. Year 2, they will establish 80 farmers' service centers. 2025 has come and gone. We are in July 2026. And Mr. Speaker, not even a single farmers' service center has been established. Mr. Speaker, let me again refer you to the 2026 budget, paragraph 954. Mr. Speaker, they indicated that they will procure 4,375 machinery and equipment. Mr. Speaker, the mid-year budget review, because of Nkiti infections, it has reduced the number from 4,375 to only 1,840. Mr. Speaker, in effect, every service center is going to receive only 36 equipment. Is that what you classify as one-stop shop farmers service center to service farmers within 50 kilometers radius? Mr. Speaker, now let me move on to KOKO. My friends on the other side, they campaigned vigorously on the promise of 6,000 cedis per bag. Now, it's no longer part of the vocabulary. They've become allergic to the figure 6,000. Mr. Speaker, they are saying that they will pay the cocoa farmer 70% of the international price. Speaker, as we speak, the international price is hovering around 5,500. Mr. Speaker, add the living income differential of 400. Mr. Speaker, add an average of $200 per ton, which the Ghana's quality premium cocoa receives. Mr. Speaker, you'll be talking about a figure of $6,100 per ton. How much are you offering the cocoa farmer now? It is far less than the 70% that you promised. Mr. Speaker, Dr. Bawumia's administration has promised that under no circumstance would the farm gate, once announced, be reduced. Mr. Speaker, now let me take you to Nkoko Nkete. The finance minister indicated that 2 million bears have been brooded and distributed. What he failed to tell us, how many of those bears were able to reach maturity? How many of them ended up in their live soup? How many of them? He should be able to tell us. Mr. Speaker, a number of objectives were set out. The minister should tell us which of the objectives was achieved. Mr. Speaker, now we have food glut farmers were expecting that the minister would address the farm glut comprehensively. They were waiting to hear what measures the minister was going to put in place to mitigate the suffering of the ordinary farmer. Mr. Speaker, today, a bag of...
I recall previous budgets that were presented before he became finance minister. And I recall with pain and with disappointment how those budgets, for example, highlighted our state's inability to pay its debts, and as a result of which we had to endure a very painful debt exchange program. Mr. Speaker, what that era meant was that as a country, we were declaring bankruptcy, and we're simply telling our creditors that we're not in a position to pay. Mr. Speaker, to put it in our local parlance, I'll say, we could not pay. Mr. Speaker, so listening to the finance minister in less than 2 years speak of how much had been paid and how ready the country was to pay even future debts, I could only glow with pride and hope. Mr. Speaker, the finance minister was indicating how much of our debts he has been able to retire on time and in some cases ahead of time, and how he was preparing, for example, the sinking fund and how much was saved in it in preparation for the real Agenda 111, which we have to meet in 2028. And when I speak of Agenda 111, I'm talking about the 111 billion Eurobond debt that we have to pay in 2028, which the finance minister was already preparing for. Mr. Speaker, if you lived in the era of Yentimin Tuya and you were seated in this chamber listening to the finance minister talk about how he was paying our debts and making preparations to pay future debts, you could only glow with pride. Mr. Speaker, I also wish to commend the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and the finance minister for the commitment shown in the development of our country's roads. Mr. Speaker, the Chinese tells you all the time that when you want to be rich, you first build roads. Mr. Speaker, after 60 years, over 60 years of our independence, isn't it a shame that we cannot boast of any, a first-class road connecting any two major cities in the country? None. Not Accra to Ho, not Accra to Cape Coast, not Accra to Kumasi, not Kumasi to Tamale. No major city in Ghana is connected with a first-class road to another major city. Isn't it a shame that after 60 years, we are not able to boast of that? Mr. Speaker, meanwhile, we have gone through many years of roads. Many years of roads. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, the major highways of our country are all under major construction, under the big push agenda. Mr. Speaker, and when these projects are done, you will have a first-class road connecting Accra to Cape Coast and then all the way to Takoradi. You will have a first-class road connecting Accra to Ho and then beyond. You will have a first-class road connecting Accra to Kumasi under the Accra Expressway. Mr. Speaker, and only a few weeks ago, I was abroad. And Mr. Speaker, it hit me when I was driving on the expressway in London, and I imagined how Accra Kumasi is going to look like without going through major towns. As we speak, over 122 kilometers of the Accra Expressway has already been cleared by the military. Mr. Speaker, I must commend my boss, the Minister of Roads, for the energy, the commitment, and the dedication with which he has approached this agenda of His Excellency President Mahama. Mr. Speaker, for example, as we speak, 13 projects under the big push are 50% complete. 6 projects, 75% complete. 15 projects, 25% complete. Mr. Speaker, Almost all the projects are at various stages of completion.
The sad truth today in Ghana is that what the NDC government, the Minister of Finance, and the current president can do, and they do well, is promise. But Mr. Speaker, they are good about promise, and their promise don't expire, but they disappear. All the promises of the NDC government do not expire, but they disappear. And Mr. Speaker, I'll prove to you. Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Finance came into this chamber to ask for 6.1 billion Ghana cedis. That was a promise to the Ghanaian students, the Ghanaian child. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, this promise had disappeared. Why am I saying it has disappeared? Mr. Speaker, look at the budget that the Minister for Finance came to give us. Mr. Speaker, the 6.1 billion, 3 million was to be used for furniture, textbooks, and the rest. But what do we see? We were expecting the Minister of Finance to give an update to the Ghanaian child, the Ghanaian parent, the Ghanaian student, but nothing happened. Mr. Speaker, that promise did not expire, but it has disappeared. Mr. Speaker, they talk about Teacher Dabre. Mr. Speaker, during the review, nothing was talked about this Teacher Dabre. It has vanished from the records. It has disappeared. Mr. Speaker, they said completion of 62 e-blocks. I'm happy to note that the NPP government, Bawumia Akufo-Addo, completed so many of the e-blocks. Mr. Speaker, they promised 62. The 62 they promised, Mr. Speaker. Now, during the media, they have reviewed the number and they've come down to 30. Mr. Speaker, I'm telling you, by the end of the year, it will disappear. Mr. Speaker, they promised a MasterCard Foundation 1 million jobs for 4 years. Mr. Speaker, during the media, we were expecting the Minister for Finance to give us an update on it. This one also has vanished from the records. It has disappeared. Mr. Speaker, about double track. But it will interest you to know that Akufo-Addo, Bawumia did so well. They constructed so many school buildings. They did so well to the extent that we were transitioning from double track to the full track, single track. And it's also something worth noting that one of the best results we've ever had from this for this country is the free SHA during the double track period. Mr. Speaker, the double track, please, we want the NDC government to be consistent. Mr. Speaker, they said January 26. It didn't happen. Now they came back. Then the minister talked about November. In November, they talked about 2026. It didn't happen. The president talked about 2027 deadline. It didn't happen. Then we have the Minister of Education now coming back to talk about 2029. It didn't happen. Mr. Speaker, what we are not sure is what the NDC government stands for. All they can do is to disappear with their promises. Mr. Speaker, I have just a minute left. Unfortunately, this government believes in chieftaincy, but nothing is happening to them. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the 2026 budget, the percentage that was given to the chiefs is a fraction of a fraction of a fraction, and nothing happened. Mr. Speaker, now let's go to tourism and culture. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, we know how much jobs tourism is creating. We know how much tourism is contributing to our GDP. Mr. Speaker, of all the ministries they spoke about during the media budget review, 40 ministries, nothing.
Honorable Dr. Thomas Anaba, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the mid-year fiscal policy review. Mr. Speaker, I've listened to our colleagues from the other side lamenting that we make promises and they disappear, that we are not spending. I would like to join my colleagues here to tell them that we are spending, but prudently and wisely. We will not give money to people to go and open farms and they'll squander the money, and today the young men have no jobs. We are not going to spend 25 million to rescue banks that had a problem with only 9 billion. We won't do that. We will not only dash our money to MPs and parliamentary candidates to come and campaign for elections. We won't do that. What we are doing is what I'm going to explain only in the health sector, and listen carefully. Mr. Speaker, we promise, I'll use it, we promise to uncap the national health insurance and save Ghanaians the hassle of having to put their hands in their pockets and pay for health services. We have uncapped the national health insurance, and the money is being put into the coffers that every Ghanaian will benefit from it. How are we benefiting from it? The minister this year has already given out 4.5 billion to the national health insurance. That is spending. In addition, the minister has given out 1.1 billion to the Mahama Care, popularly known as Mahama Care, the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. That is prudent spending. And let me tell you, months before we came to power, there were threats from private health providers that they were going to shut down their hospitals from providing services to card bearers of the national health insurance. Today, I tell you, Mr. Speaker, there is no private health insurance or private health facility that has attempted to shut its gates to customers. Rather, it is the national health insurance, with the abundance of funds they have, that is compelling them to come for their monies and even paying up to date. There is no hospital that is being owed by the national health insurance for more than the stipulated time. That means that we have uncapped it and we are using the money prudently. Another use of our money that you say we are not spending, we are building 3 cath labs in Ghana, first of its kind in the country. One at Kolebu that has started working, commissioned by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the development king. One is in Kumasi, coming up very soon, they'll commission it. One is in Tamale, meaning that from now going, in future, no one would have to leave Ghana to go to abroad for any cardiac surgery. It means we will get all the treatment here in Ghana and no one will be dying of heart problems. Mr. Speaker, they also talk about how we are not engaging the youth, and they are saying that agri sector is not getting investment. The minister stood there and told us that he has already given out 551 million to the agri ministry to ensure that the agri mechanized farms, agri mechanized centers are established. This is something that the youth in my community are very cheerful of. If you are talking that the government is not spending, this is what we call prudent spending. Another important spending that the government is doing and the finance minister is doing is the educational sector, where there are schools that people don't want to attend because of their quality. The government is investing $300 million into upgrading schools, and I'm sure the school in my constituency is going to benefit from it, to move from category C to category B. In that way, students will get proper education, compete for the good universities, and when they graduate, they will come and then work for the constituency. So if you say the government is not spending, this is spending. Where do you want us to put the money? Do you want us to give you the money to put in your pocket? No. We have to invest it in a way that collectively we will benefit from it. So, Mr. Speaker, I would not like to talk too much because a lot of development is going on in Ghana. It is just those who don't want to see, who cannot see. Very soon you'll be driving on an expressway to Kumasi. You those from Kumasi. Konfanoche Teaching Hospital was getting dilapidated. It had to take the Otufo Osetutu II himself to look for money to renovate maternity blocks in Kumasi for you. Meanwhile, you had Kumasi as your stronghold and you couldn't invest anything there. Go and see the roads that they are building in Kumasi, that they are completing. We are completing them. We are building a cat lab in Kumasi for you, so that when you get
Honorable Majority Leader, we have done 3-3. We've done 3-3.
Mr. Speaker, let's take a break, lay some reports of the Finance Committee, and then take the report on the agency, and then we can take, 1-1, and then go back to the bill. We don't want to stay here till. No, we don't want to stay because, please.
So, which item are you proposing we take?
8D, Roman numeral 1 and 2.
Very well. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I've told my respected leader that it's a house of two sides, and it's always critical to engage. Speaker, we are not opposed, save that there was a conversation that when we are done with this, we can proceed to take the commentaries, which are two more, and then whatever is left for us to do. Leader.
Item numbered 8D. Chairman of the committee.
Report of the Finance Committee on the determination of the urgency or otherwise of the Ghana KOKO Board Bill 2026. Report of the Finance Committee on the Ghana KOKO Board Bill 2026.
Honourable members, the reports numbered item 8D I have been duly presented and they are for distribution to honourable members. Yes, Majority Leader.
So we'll take 1-1 and now go back 1-1.
Honourable members, as the leaders engage, I now proceed to give the floor to Honourable Kobna Ochredako Mensa.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to add my voice to the media review budget. Mr. Speaker, if you take page 90 of the budget, clearly you see that this budget implementation has been very unambitious. In fact, if you take the figures for revenues for the 6 months, the government could not meet its targets. If you also take expenditure, total expenditure, on page 90, the government could not meet a target. It's clearly showing that this government has been very lazy with revenue mobilization, and it has been very lazy with expenditures. Mr. Speaker,
what word are you using?
When you don't expend.
What word are you using?
Lazy. Lazy.
You are using the word lazy.
Revenue mobilization.
I think the use of the word lazy is unparliamentary.
Mr. Speaker, what word do you suggest so that I can change it?
I'm not to suggest words for you. So please.
Unambitious.
Please withdraw it.
Unambitious. I replace it with unambitious. The government.
Honourable members, the word lazy is ordered to be expunged from the record.
Mr. Speaker, I've withdrawn and replaced it. Mr. Speaker, if you take arrests, for instance, the government programmed 13 billion. They have only spent 5 billion. Clearly showing that they have not been spending. So if you look at the itinerary of numbers on page 82 and 81, where the government runs a lot of numbers, is only to deceive or mislead the public. Mr. Speaker, that is why projects like the Takoradi Market Circle is not being completed. That is why the railway line in the western region is not being completed. That is why the Bukro Agenda 111 is not being operationalized, because the government has been unambitious in spending. So, Mr. Speaker, if the government says that they are doing so much and they are spending, Mr. Speaker, they are just not meeting their targets. And budgets are supposed to allow government to spend. Budgets are not about discipline or indiscipline. It's about spending to meet the targets we've given you to work with. So if this government is not spending the budget we've given and approved for him to spend, it is not about being disciplined. It's just being unambitious. Mr. Speaker, if you also take a lot of the issues they've started themselves with, like the debt to GDP ratio, like the inflation rate, Mr. Speaker, you come to understand one thing. If you take the DDEP, the benefit to this country was the $50 billion debt write-off and the 40 billion savings that we got. That is why the debt to GDP ratio had moved from 55% to 45%. And that is not their doing. On inflation, you'd also realize that when we got to 54%, it started sliding all the way to 23.9. So the programming had been done already. The foundation had been laid. That is why today we are seeing an amount of 5.3% for inflation. But Mr. Speaker, the government should understand that inflation is not the same as the prices on the market. In fact, there is no price that I've seen from the NDC that is better than the price that the previous government was holding in this country. Mr. Speaker, today, a lot of farm gate prices have come down, not because of the inflation price. It's because traders are not getting money from the banks to work with. Because, as you see, the Bank of Ghana have incentivized the commercial banks to move all their monies into the Bank of Ghana through their serialization program. And because of that, traders are not getting money to work. And if traders are not getting monies to work, then clearly, naturally, prices will collapse. And as prices collapse, that cannot be taken on by the NDC that prices are falling. In fact, farmers are suffering. The price of their cost of production are higher than the cost of the prices of the things they sell on the market. So, Mr. Speaker, if today government is moving money from capital expenditure
Member, thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Walanyo Cheku.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to comment on the 2026 Mid-Year Fiscal Policy Review. Mr. Speaker, let me thank the Finance Minister for presenting on the gains that we have made, the successes, the gains, and how to consolidate them in the coming days. Mr. Speaker, if not the current Finance Minister and the current administration, I wouldn't know that state institutions are capable of making profits. Today, institutions that have been making losses for the past 8 years have declared profits in this country. Example, Mr. Speaker, Tema Oil Refinery was almost sold by our colleagues few years ago, but just few months ago, they declared 1.2 billion profits. Ghana Publishing Company that nearly collapsed under the XY regime. Ghana Publishing Company, Mr. Speaker, made a profit of 16.96 million Ghana cedis in their report. Mr. Speaker, all this shows how prudently this government is managing the economy. Mr. Speaker, this shows that the doors are open for employment for our youth. On page 62, Mr. Speaker, on page 62 of the budget, the finance minister made it clear about his job creation instruments, some of them. One of them is a palm oil development finance policy, which is going to invest $500 million to employ the youth in this country. Mr. Speaker, aside this one, all our employment instruments that will lead to employment of our youth, are all working and are all doing very well. Example of them, as mentioned by some of my colleagues, the YEA, which has now employed 86,000 youth. The NPP, which is giving our youth startup capitals to establish their own businesses. Mr. Speaker, big push. Our youth, our young ones are on the road working. We didn't bring them from China. They are from Ghana, including our colleagues' constituency. Mr. Speaker, the Bupe Solar Project, that is going to employ more than 13,000 people. Mr. Speaker, the Agric Ministry, with its projects, also employing our youth. Mr. Speaker, gone were the days that we have government who went for taxpayers' money to create unemployment instead of employment. Mr. Speaker, in 2017, government went for 21 billion Ghana cedis to move to get youth out of their workplaces. Mr. Speaker, they were employed because of a single policy called the financial sector cleanup exercise. Thousands of people who were gainfully employed became unemployed because of actions of this particular the erstwhile government. Mr. Speaker, 2018, 100,000 youths were abandoned by this government after introducing what we call NACO. Mr. Speaker, 2025, they introduced a policy I call No Mercy for the Cripple. Mr. Speaker, in this house, that was where the former road minister announced that our brothers and sisters living with disability who are working on at our toll booths, they decided to sack them with one government decision. They came to create unemployment. We are in government to reset, to create employment for our youth. We need their support to support, because whatever we are doing is not benefiting only this side, it's benefiting them largely. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Whenever I say PENDREAM TV, PENDREAM TV, dear, I see them, you